Have you ever just stopped and felt like the world is this giant, tangled web of connections? Something way too big and intricate for any one person to really grasp? Well, today we're diving into a book that does just that. It ties together who we are as people, the messy world we live in, and the single most powerful technology of our age. Okay, so just to be clear, this explainer is an AI-generated overview of the book Umanità, Complessità e Intelligenza Artificiale, un connubio perfetto. That translates to humanity, complexity, and artificial intelligence, a perfect union. It's by Enrico De Santis, a researcher and assistant professor who weaves these huge ideas together into one really compelling story. And the book kicks off with this really profound idea. Everything is connected with everything. We ignore the essence of connections. It sounds simple, right? But that one thought is the key to everything we're about to unpack. We are literally swimming in a sea of unseen connections, and our journey today is all about learning to see them. So, how do we even begin to talk about something as huge as unseen connections? To get a handle on it, the book says we need a new way of looking at the world. We need the lens of complexity science. It all starts with this idea of a complex system. And this isn't some brand new concept. Way back, even Aristotle pointed out that the whole is different from just a pile of its parts. A complex system is where the interactions between the pieces matter more than the pieces themselves. Think about your brain. It's not just a bag of neurons, right? It's the incredible, chaotic, beautiful way they all fire and connect that creates, you. And the way these systems behave is just wild. They have these properties that feel almost like magic. You've got emergence, which is when something totally new and unpredictable pops out of simple interactions, like consciousness emerging from neurons. Then there's auto-organization, where order just happens without any central boss telling it what to do. Think about a perfect stadium wave. And of course, there's nonlinearity, the famous butterfly effect, where one tiny little change over here can cause a massive, totally unforeseen storm over there. To really drive this home, the book uses that classic parable of the blind man and the elephant. You know the one. Each person touches a different part, the trunk, the leg, the side, and comes to a completely different conclusion about what an elephant is. A snake, a tree, a wall. They were all right in their own little way, but they all completely missed the bigger picture. They missed the elephant. And that, right there, is our fundamental human challenge in a complex world. Okay, so if our own brains struggle to see the whole elephant, what can help us? What's our guide? Well, this brings us to the second piece of our puzzle, artificial intelligence. And specifically, a huge revolutionary change in how it actually works. For the longest time, AI was what we call symbolic. It was all about rigid, human-written rules. If this happens, then do that. Super logical, but also super brittle. But then the game completely changed with connectionist AI. This new approach is actually inspired by the neural networks in our own brains. Instead of being spoon-fed the rules, it learns patterns on its own from incredible amounts of data. The book calls this a true cognitive revolution. So how does it learn? Well, there are two main ways. With supervised learning, you basically show it a bunch of examples. You say, this is a cat, this is a dog, over and over, until it learns to tell the difference. But with unsupervised learning, and this is where it gets really cool, you just dump a giant, messy, unlabeled pile of data in front of it. And the AI, all by itself, starts finding the hidden groups and patterns. It discovers connections we didn't even know were there. All right, now we get to the absolute heart of the argument. This is where AI and complexity collide, and we see it's not a one-way street. It's this deep, two-way relationship that changes everything. On one hand, it's pretty straightforward. We use these powerful new AIs as tools, right? They help us model and understand the incredibly complex systems of our world. Everything from the chaos of the stock market to how a global pandemic spreads. AI helps us finally see the whole elephant. But here's the twist. Here is the really profound insight from the book. Today's most advanced AIs, the large language models that power things like ChatGPT, aren't just tools for studying complexity. They are complex systems themselves. And this creates this incredible, inseparable loop. We're using a complex system, AI, to analyze another complex system, like a social network. These generative AIs are even showing emergent behaviors, surprising new abilities that nobody explicitly programmed into them. And get this, the same mathematical rules, things called power laws, that describe why a few websites get almost all of the internet traffic, also describe the wiring of our own brains. It's mind-blowing. AI and complexity aren't just connected, they are reflections of the very same underlying principles. So if we, humanity, have created this new kind of complex system, what happens when we look into it? The book makes this powerful case that AI has become a kind of mirror, reflecting our own nature right back at us in ways we never expected. The father of cybernetics, Norbert Wiener, nailed it decades ago. He said you can only understand a society by looking at how it communicates. Well, today, our communication, our culture, it's all being filtered through and shaped by AI. We have to learn to navigate this new forest of symbols that AI is creating around us. And sometimes that mirror reflects our creative genius in the most stunning ways. You've got AI that can study Kurt Cobain's music and generate a new Nirvana song. You have AIs that can dream, creating these surreal, beautiful, hallucinatory images. They can write poetry that's genuinely moving. AI is becoming a new partner in human expression. But here's the thing about a mirror. It doesn't flatter you. It reflects everything. And that includes the parts of ourselves we'd probably rather not look at. Because these AIs learn from the data we give them, from our world, they learn our biases. So you get hiring tools trained on decades of data that learn to discriminate against women. You get facial recognition systems that have higher error rates for people of color. You get translation tools that automatically default to gender stereotype. And this is the absolute crucial takeaway. These are not machine errors. They are not glitches in the code. They are human errors. They are our prejudices, our blind spots, our societal flaws, picked up by the machine and scaled by technology to a terrifying new level. And this brings us to the final and most profound point. This whole journey forces us to a philosophical conclusion. This technology is more than just a tool. It's a challenge. It's forcing us to develop what the book calls a new epistemic awareness, a whole new way of thinking about how we know what we know, as we get ready for the new kinds of minds that are coming. The book's conclusion uses this just beautiful, poignant quote to capture the paradox of being human. We are at once selfish and short-sighted, but we're also the creature that gets emotional holding a child. We have this huge capacity for both, and AI is now reflecting that duality back to us. And so, here we are, back at the beginning. This is the inseparable triad. Humanity creates AI to try and understand the overwhelming complexity of our world. But then that AI, a complex system in its own right, turns into a mirror, forcing us to look squarely at our own humanity, the good, the bad, and the very complicated. And that leaves us with one massive, lingering question. If we can build an artificial mind that reflects both our greatest creative sparks and our deepest, darkest biases, what does that say about us? What does it truly mean to be human in the first place? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.